Paul Goldsmith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My pleasure to speak on this bill, and it grieves me a little bit to following such kind comments from the previous speaker about the work of collaboration that the Select Committee did on this bill, and the way that we generally work together well in a collegial fashion. To say that Labor clearly is on the side of the defaulters and on the side of the shirkers when it comes to student loans. It's about they're on the side of people who want to take the money and run. Surely, if you look at the figures where we have over 100,000 overseas-based borrowers in the scheme, and a significant number, 61,000 of them, are not meeting their repayment obligations. And the Labor Party seems to think, well, that's no problem. 61,000 people haven't bothered to start paying any payments back on their student loans overseas. They've left the money, they've left the country, taken the money and run, and Labor thinks that's no problem. So that's not a serious policy, and it's not a serious policy from a party which is not serious about this issue. National is making the student loan scheme sustainable into the future. It is reducing the need for more government borrowing and to provide students for the jobs of the future. Our interest-free student loan scheme is one of the most generous in the world, and we only have to look at the papers that were delivered for the Select Committee, which shows that OECD countries on average spend about 20% of their public budgets for tertiary education on financial aid for students. New Zealand spends more than double this proportion, 43%, and is second only to the UK in the support that it gives to students. And the quid pro quo for that is that we expect students to actually pay it back once they've received their student loans. And it represents a major financial commitment by the government and taxpayers to support people in tertiary education. And we want to do that because we know that it is important that New Zealand increases its level of skills. We do live in a highly competitive global environment. There's not written in stone that New Zealand will continue to be wealthy in the future. You only have to look at PISA results and the great challenge that's been put forward by particularly in our neighbourhood by China and other countries, and that offers great opportunities for New Zealand to trade and to do well, but it also reminds us that we actually have to keep on working hard and lifting our game here in New Zealand, and a good quality tertiary education is part and parcel of that, and the student loan scheme supports that. But all of New Zealand has a stake in good tertiary education, but loan borrowers need to keep their end of the deal and repay any money that they borrowed promptly, and particularly when they go overseas. So this legislation is part of an ongoing effort over a number of years by the National Party to make sure that people actually start repaying their loans. And so, as has been indicated, the key thing that we're talking about is introducing the ability to retain people at the border, request an arrest warrant for overseas-based borrowers who persistently default. A small group of people, but it will send a clear and powerful message that those who consistently fail to meet their obligations will be held to account. And the opposition members say, no, well, what do they suggest? You just keep on saying, well, please pay, do nothing about it. At some point, we have to actually put a line in the sand and say, if you don't pay, you can't just keep on continuing to have the privileges of a New Zealander going freely in and out of this country if you don't make even the slightest attempt. We're not saying to people, we're not suggesting that you have to pay the whole loan right on the dot on that moment, but all you need to do is enter into a conversation with the IRD to start repaying that loan and start making some progress, and that is very important. The one change during the Finance and Select Expenditure Committee that I just wanted to alert the Parliament to was originally the bill set out the courts could make any other order the court see fit in relation to the arrested student loan borrower. The committee thought that that was too wide in scope and there was a lack of clarity around that, and so as a result the bill is slightly tighter there and refers to the court within such a period of, that it specifies could ask for further information, and so it tightened up that little area, and I thought that made the bill more powerful, and on that basis I'm very happy to commend this bill to the House.
I call Grant Robertson.
As we speak in this debate, there is a person in a country in Europe